Hunting the Shadows. Hello, everyone. Come on in. Welcome aboard. Climb aboard the strange train. I'm your host, Dennis Carroll, and this is another episode of Hunting the Shadows. We're going to get everyone situated here. We've already got some people coming in with comments. Hello, Shiro. And we've got Midnight West Night Watchers in there. Hello, Gerald, my friend. And Ann. And Robin. And we've got my good brother Juno. Yeah, we're going to have an interesting show tonight. We're going to be part of the Legend Trackers tonight. If you haven't joined the Legend Trackers Society, it's now time to do so. We're going to be going in tracking a legend tonight. We're going to be going after Santa Claus, okay? So we're going to be talking about that tonight and some other stuff too as well. Got some announcements to make though before we get into that. Now don't forget, Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Paranormal Point of View, okay? I'm going to be doing some review on some Christmas movies and who knows what else we're going to get into, okay? And we may have just a general discussion on stuff and see where we go with it from there, okay? That's what we usually do because, like I say, these are your podcasts too, okay? Don't forget that. It's very important. Hello, Sweet Pea. Good evening. If you haven't joined the Legend Trackers Society, it's free, by the way. Doesn't cost you anything but your time and effort. Join, okay, because we're going to be looking at some interesting topics in the future. And Hunting the Shadows podcast is also a part of the Legend Trackers Society, okay, which is under the big umbrella of the American Institute for Paranormal Research and Investigation, okay? That's a mouthful, I know. We call it AIPRI, okay? But the Legend Tracker Society is where we look into a lot of these stories, legends, folklore, superstitions, all that kind of interesting history. There's a lot of mystery in history, folks. That's one of the reasons why I love history, because there's a lot of mystery to it, okay? I love a good mystery. And if you do too, then you definitely need to be in the Legend Trackers Society because we are explorers of the mysterious. Okay, hello, Millie. And anyway, you might want to do that because we're going to be tracking down old Saint Nick tonight. We're going to be looking into that, yeah, definitely. He may even show up because I've got his hat here, okay? You never know. He might need that extra hat, you know. So who or what is Santa Claus? Santa Claus is one of my favorite people here, okay? Although he never leaves me anything. I don't know why that is, okay? But anyway, I need to talk to him about that one day. I'm going to have a long discussion with that boy one day. We're going to sit down and have a long talk, yeah. But until then, we're going to talk about him tonight, definitely. And he may kind of feel like he's being talked about, definitely. Hello, Sandra. Yeah, it's almost Christmas now. Next week Next week, okay, you definitely don't want to miss next week. It's going to be my long anticipated show next Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Angels. Okay, we're going to talk angels, all about angels. We're going to be getting deep into the discussion of angels. And angels are not what you may think they are. Okay, and we're going to have a long talk about that. One of my favorite subjects is angelology. It's not just demonology, but angelology is another one of my favorites in the paranormal realm of parapsychology and all that stuff, good stuff. To me, angelology is very interesting, although we seem to know more about the demons than we do the angels, and it's really a shame because we need to look at angels for a while too. But angels are very mysterious, and as explorers of the mysterious, the Legend Tracker Society is definitely going to be on the trail next week on that. Okay, so be ready for it next Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Hello, Red Pill. And be ready for it because we're going to be talking angels, okay? That's going to be, we're going to have some good angel stories. Angels is related to Christmas, of course, but angels are not just on Christmas, all right? They're 364, 65 days a year thing going on with them, okay? They're 24/7, all right? They're always on the job. But we're going to definitely be getting into some interesting discussion, and that show may run a little longer than definitely some have in the past. Okay, so be ready for it. So anyway, tonight though, our subject is good old Saint Nick. Okay, let's look at him for a little while, shall we? Let me get him up on the screen here. I'm going to show you, of course, what is the typical image of old Saint Nick. There he is, okay? And as you notice, of course, he is a giver of gifts. He's a really happy, jolly old elf. Is he really an elf? Okay, we're going to talk about that, definitely. And as of course, he's surrounded, he's definitely Christmas, and he's surrounded with even the pets like him. But he's always surrounded by children. He is the patron saint of children, by the way. That's good old Saint Nick. And uh, he is actually based on a real person. Okay, there is a real Santa Claus, folks. Okay, there is a real one, and his name was Saint Nicholas, and he lived back in Turkey back in the way back about almost 1,000 some odd years ago. In Turkey Minor, actually, he was a Greek. He was of Greek origin. So the Santa Claus, the true original Santa, Saint Nick, actually was Greek. He belongs to Greece. Okay. Although he was born in Turkey, there's a lot of people in Turkey. I think they want to call it Turkey now. They've kind of changed the name of Turkey a little bit. Anyway, it wasn't Turkey then when he was born, by the way, but it was in the Ottoman Empire, actually, before that. And he goes way, way back, and he was a very saintly man. He was of Christian origin. He was a very saintly man, and he had a lot of money. He was blessed with a lot of money, but he had a very free heart, St. Nicholas, and he wanted to share his wealth. He wanted to give, and that's the image of Santa Claus. Okay, he's a giver, not a receiver. Although he does, I hear he does like milk and cookies. Okay, he will take a bribe a little bit. But he is mainly a giver. He symbolizes the free heartedness of giving, wanting to give and to serve and to love by giving. Okay, that's the true image of Santa Claus. Now, C.S. Lewis, actually, the very famous Christian writer who wrote The Witch, the Wardrobe, and all that, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Actually, he actually has an appearance of Santa in his book, by the way, in his novel. And Santa shows up, but he doesn't look like what that picture I showed you just a minute ago. That's not what he really looked like. He wears furs, although they are wild furs. In other words, they look like a mountain man furs kind of thing. They're not red and white. Okay, definitely not. And he looks like that, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But anyway, he does something very interesting in the line of Witch in the Wardrobe. He actually gives the three kids, the three children, he gives them weapons in order to fight against the evil that they're going to face. So, and believe it or not, Santa, Saint Nick, actually is fighting on the good side of good here, folks. Okay. I also have heard rumors that Santa Claus is a terrific vampire hunter, but that's for another time. But anyway, one more thing I need to clear up though at the beginning here, okay? About some rumors about me and Santa Claus not being seen in the same room at the same time, okay? I'm not going to get into that, okay, tonight. Definitely not. I'm not going that route. Just, I think it is rather strange, though, that we haven't ever been seen in the same room at the same time. But anyway, oh, neither have I and Batman either, by the way, but there you go. Okay, so anyway, that is the origin of Saint Nick. That's who he was. And let me tell you a little bit about him, okay? There's a very famous story. I touched upon this, I think, in my last show, where there was a man who lived in the village there where St. Nicholas was, and he had three daughters who had come of age, but he had no dowry for them. You know, back in the old days, you had to kind of give a guy something in order to marry your daughter. You had to kind of give him a little something for his trouble. That was called a dowry back in the old days, folks, a dowry. And so they had no dowry, okay? So they couldn't get married. This man was about to actually sell his daughters into prostitution because of that, because they had no food, they had no money, they had nothing, okay? So actually, they were, fixing to get into the sex trade back in those days. And when St. Nicholas heard about this, he snuck up to the top of their house while they were asleep and dropped 3 bags of gold down the chimney, 1 bag for each of the 3 daughters. And according to legend, their stockings were hanging by the chimney when he did this, and the bags actually deflected off the chimney and went in each one of the stockings. Okay, supposedly that's where you get the original legend of Saint Nick filling the stockings there. Okay, he could fill my stocking with gold anytime. Okay, but anyway, that's how that got started. That's very interesting where that goes with that. But there are other many stories of him helping poor people and all that, which is why he became a saint. And here's something very strange. Well, he's not buried in Turkey, okay? He's not buried there. He's not buried in Greece. He's actually buried in Italy, okay? Some of the people in Italy found out that he is their big patron saint in Italy, by the way, okay? Because he's the patron saint of sailors, supposedly policemen, children, of course, orphans, children, etc. He's real big in Italy. So they actually went to Turkey and stole his bones. Some sailors went there and stole the bones of St. Nicholas and took them to a church in Italy. I can't think of where it's at. I think it's in Sicily. But the churches, I can't think of the name of the church right now. But the church, supposedly to this day, you can go to St. Nicholas Church. That's where some of his bones are. They didn't get them all, I don't think. But anyway. That's very interesting, a little sideline story to the original Saint Nick. But let's look at some of these other things, okay? Now, Santa Claus is known throughout the world by many different names. In the Scandinavian countries, it's really pronounced Sinterklaas, which sounds cinder cloth. That's where we get Santa Claus from. We heard it over here in America as Santa Claus, okay? So we have to give that to Clement Clark Moore, who wrote the very famous, which I did on a Christmas special. I did that poem the night before Christmas, okay? We have to give him credit for that because he is, hey, Gala, he is actually the originator of our modern day image of Santa Claus, okay? But there are some other darker areas here that we're going to look at, okay? Definitely. And then I'm going to start talking about some of the sightings, and I'm going to talk about my own sighting Santa Claus sighting. Okay. Yes, I may have actually seen this old guy. Okay. But anyway, I'm gonna leave that for later on in the broadcast here. Okay. So anyway, um, the thing about this is there is a tie-in with Santa, Santa Claus, Father Christmas, Papa Noel, whatever name he is called, and he's known by children throughout the world. Okay. And I've often said this about Santa Claus. He has to be the first original superhero, okay? Because he's magical, he's supernatural. He can do things that no mortal human being can do. He can visit everyone on Christmas in one night, okay? Although he does have the international timeline working for him in that respect, okay? And NORAD is tracking him, definitely. But he is the first, I call him the first original superhero because he was such a bigger than life guy here, okay? And he can do such magical things. Go down the chimney, and what if there's no chimney? That doesn't stop him, okay? Nothing stand, no door is locked to Santa Claus, okay? No window can keep him out. No doorway, no vault, no bricks can stop this guy. Okay, he can go anywhere he wants. He has no passport. Very much like an angel. Angels have no passport too, by the way. And there is speculation that Santa Claus, the real Santa Claus, could be an angel. Okay, that's another thing about Santa Claus. But he is definitely the first original superhero. Okay, you got to give him that. He was bigger than Superman, Batman, Zorro, and all of them. Okay, he is the original, and he may have a tie-in with the Viking god Odin. Okay, let's talk about that a minute. It's very strange. Um, Odin, the god Odin, the Viking god Odin, is said to look like an old man with a long white beard, dressed in fur, that sneaks around watching and listening to people and what they're saying. Okay, I got one question. Who's that sound like? Okay, who does that sound like? Is there a tie-in with Santa and Odin? There may be, definitely. Some of those attributes are there. So what is this thing about Santa spying on everybody? Okay, he's watching you. He knows if you're naughty or nice. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. Okay, all this stuff. What's going on with that? Is he the secret head of the CIA? Or is he working for the National Security Agency, or what? What's going on with this? And how does he do that? How does he see everybody at Christmas? Well, the explanation supposedly for that is his army of elves. He supposedly has a bunch of good elves helping him, not like Krampus. Krampus, by the way, who is the opposite of Santa Claus, the opposite of him. He has bad elves helping him to get rid of the bad children. And of course, he not only whips them, if you're very, very bad, he puts you in his basket, takes you home, and he eats you. Okay, that's what happens to you when you run into Krampus. Okay, now Krampus, he only supposedly comes out on December the 5th. But if you're very bad, he makes special trips. Okay, all right. So don't think you're in the clear yet. Okay, all right. But anyway, here on Hunting the Shadows, by the way, I want to say this. We are celebrating the 12 days of Christmas, and the actual 12 days of Christmas begin on December 21st, okay? The winter solstice, the longest and darkest night of the year, okay? That's when the first day of Christmas starts, the 12 days of Christmas, and it ends on December 31st, okay? So we will be talking about that because we got a couple more Christmas shows to do. One which will be after Christmas, but it's still in the Christmas season. Okay, I don't want to get technical with you, but hello, Danny. Good to have you aboard, sir. Get on the strange train here. Okay, we're going to some weird places tonight. But we all have memories of Santa. You know, as being little kids looking for him to come, or thinking about him or hoping to see him, or could you actually ever? I've always wanted to actually really try to capture a picture of this guy. Okay, if he's out there, I would love to get him on video, definitely. And that's what I like about that movie, The Christmas Chronicles. They actually do that. And that's a great movie, by the way. And Kurt Russell does an excellent Elvis Presley uh, 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 song in there. The Christmas song he does. Santa Claus are back in town. Excellent impression of Elvis Presley. Definitely, you need to watch that movie if you haven't seen it. Okay, yeah, there's like 12 days of Christmas, Danny. Yes, sir. They actually celebrated this as a fortnight. That's an old English term for 2 weeks. Okay, the 12 days of Christmas. Actually, not quite 2 weeks long, but there you go. Well, they really count in, if you really want to count it, you count in New Year's Eve and New Year's Day and the day and Boxing Day. That would give you actually 14 days. Okay, if you want to get real technical on that, but that's the British stuff on that. Okay. Hey, David, good to have you aboard. And anyway, Danny says Santa always creeped me out when I was a kid. Some old guy wanting kids in his lap, not for me. Well, actually, he never, you never hear too much. That's a modern day thing. That's a department store thing where Santa, you sit on Santa's lap and tell me. That's not the real Santa, and I'm going to be talking about that in a little bit, about the commercial Santa and the real Santa. Okay, there's a big difference here. That's the commercial Santa. That's the department store guy. That's not really Santa, by the way. Hate to tell you that, but it's one of his helpers. Okay, it's one of his informers. All right, so you better watch yourself. So anyway, he's got these good elves sneaking around, watching the kids, watching, make sure everything is all right. When you're sleeping when you're supposed to be, when you're awake, when you're doing good, and helping mom and dad, and going to school, church, and all that stuff, and staying on the side of right. If you slip, then you might get turned into Grampus, and then things will really go south. Okay, so be very careful with that. Robin, great movie with Kurt and Goldie. Oh yeah, that was the second one. The second one really lost it for me. It was not as good as the first one. The first one is the best one of all. Forget that second one. That's a piece of Hollywood trash. I mean, they ruined it. It could have been a much better thing. But anyway, the first one's the best. And I might be talking about that Friday. And you're gonna love my Christmas movie reviews Friday. I got some good ones for you. Okay. And if you haven't checked that other one out, I mentioned the other day. Rare Exports. You might want to check that out. Okay, it's free on Tubi, by the way. I love Tubi and Pluto. Those are two. Tubi's my favorite, though. You get a lot of free, good old movies and stuff on there, definitely. And by the way, I will mention this. If you like It's a Wonderful Life, and we may have some Wonderful Life fans out there listening tonight, you might also want to check out another Christmas movie that Jimmy Stewart actually did. If you haven't ever seen it, it's called The Shop Around the Corner. It's a very good Christmas movie, too. You might want to check it out. So anyway, getting back to Santa Claus. Yeah, Satan's Claus. Now, I hope not, because if it is, he's really fooled us all, right? But let me get back to Clement Clark Moore just a minute, okay? He gave us the true modern day Santa Claus with the red suit, his dress on fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes are turned Santa. He never actually says it's red, by the way. I don't think in the poem. But the guy that drew the pictures with the poem, I think his last name was Nast, actually is the creator of that image. Okay, like I said, before any of this, Santa was dressed in long furs that were just natural furs. There was no red or white to this. Okay, I don't know where the guy Nast got that at, but he is described in the poem as a little elf. He's not that big. He's sort of not real little, but sort of a medium-sized elf, sort of kind of like the one from Lord of the Rings elf size. I mean, the dwarf in that. So he's more of a dwarf size than an elf. But anyway, The Cryptid Huntress. Good evening, Darren. Good to have you aboard. And come on aboard the Strange Train. Okay. So anyway, you've got a more animalistic looking Santa Claus. You've got a more medieval looking Santa Claus than the one you've got in the modern world today, which is very commercialized, drinking the Coke, you know. And that was a good thing about what Kurt Russell said in the movie. Why do they keep drawing me like that? Because he didn't look like that, But that's Coca Cola Santa Claus, okay? They said, hey, we can make some money on Santa Claus, okay? No problem about that. So we'll use the image. There's no copyright on it, so there you go. We don't have to worry about licensing. We can do Santa, and that's why he became so commercial with the department store Santas and all that. And um, so that's the modern day man made Santa Claus. But the true legend of Santa Claus supposedly goes further back than that, to even past medieval times. He was supposed to be more or less like an elf or some kind of magical being that would give gifts and all that and leave them around for kids or fill their wooden shoes. Now, actually, they would actually leave. Now, listen to this. They would leave milk and cookies or snacks or whatever out for Santa as sort of an offering to this guy. Okay. Well, that goes way back to the time that they actually did that with fairies. And the belief that fairies, and they say that Santa is sort of a fairy connected thing going on here, okay? That they would do that with fairies to get on their good side. They would leave them a little offering outside. Also, that goes back to the worship of the old gods. If you wanted to stay on the side of the gods and you wanted luck and prosperity and all that, you would have to give them offerings every now and then, okay, to stay on the side of the gods and keep in their good graces. You had to bribe them once in a while. And that's what that goes book. Okay. Yes, the night before Christmas is hilarious. Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah. Um, and that's a very good one, definitely. Uh, yeah, every holiday is about making money. That's the commercial side of it, okay? I don't like the commercial depiction of Santa that much, with the red hat and all that stuff. I kind of like the older Santa. He was sort of, more of a legendary type guy then, more so than that. And I think that's why a lot of people tie him into the god Odin. And by the way, Odin, here's an interesting thing. Odin rides a horse that has 8 legs. Santa drives a sleigh that has 8 reindeer. That's an interesting little connection there, isn't it? Definitely. So anyway, yeah, you leave gifts for the Fae, right? And that's true, Gay. And that's just carried over with Santa, and Santa is considered part of the Fae. He is a magical, supernatural being, supposedly in that respect. Although C.S. Lewis, the Christian writer, kind of saw Santa as a personification of an angel. Okay, so you have that supernatural connection going on with that from a Christian perspective on that as well. So anyway, and then they got the night of the volcanic sacrifice of Odin and Freya and all that. Yeah, definitely, Robin. Yeah, they try to stay on it, and of course, I write about this in my book, The Road Unseen, where about the wild hunt, which about this time of the year the wild hunt rides. And the wild hunt is supposed to be Odin on the back of that horse with 8 legs. By the way, it sounds kind of like a spider, doesn't it? And he and his cohorts ride through the countryside, sort of like the original Ghost Riders that you hear about in the very famous Ghost Riders song. They are ghost riders per se. They're spirits, and they ride on the wind on these nights. And the wild hunt, and he's got his hounds with him and his ravens and all that. And if you supposedly are caught by them out and about late at that night, they will sweep you up, and you will forever ride with the wild hunt. You'll never be seen again. And supposedly a lot of people disappeared that way. Do some investigation on the Wild Hunt. It's a very interesting legend, and that is where they got the inspiration for the song of the Ghost Riders, and they kind of went with it in a more Western motif kind of thing. But that's where that comes from. And this the legend of the Wild Hunt is very prevalent in Germany, Scandinavia, Britain, places like that, Ireland, places like that. It's still to this day thought about. So they say that late at night, on winter nights, especially around New Year's, if you hear the wind, and they say that's not the wind, that's the Wild Hunt passing by. Don't go outside, whatever you do. Uh, so it's very interesting and kind of spooky, isn't it? And definitely, it's not the wind, but the Wild Hunt. Um, so anyway, let's see. Get some more interesting comments coming up here. But getting back to Santa, there every year about this time, and I find it very interesting. There are thousands of reports and sightings of Santa by people who say they see him, and I'm not talking about just little kids. I'm talking about grown people that actually sight Santa on the sleigh or in a house or on a rooftop. Um, it's very interesting and very kind of creepy, definitely. Uh, some of these people actually, they're not, they're not drinking. I mean, they're not on drugs. I mean, they actually see these things and report them. And I have read thousands of sightings like that. There's a lot of them. And every year there's more of them. People actually saying, and even pilots supposedly have seen him on the sleigh passing by. Now, you got to look at it this way, okay? And here's what you got to kind of consider in this fact: is Santa some kind of a mind form? Is this something we've created with the power of our imaginations? Or is this something that's real? Is the real deal out there somewhere? If there is a real Santa, or maybe there is a real Santa now that we have created him with our imaginations, because he is a very strong part of our imaginations in childhood and when we're growing up. Hey, Crystal, come on in, jump on the strange train with us now. We're talking Santa. You missed some good stuff. Anyway, you have to wonder about that and you have to think about it. Is this something that we have created with the power of the imagination, especially the power of the imagination of childhood? Okay, and that imagination is stronger than the imagination of adulthood, because as a child you believe in the magic. The magic is part of your life, your belief system. It is very real to you. And the more something is very real to you, it's like wishing for something. There's no saying be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. Well, maybe if you wish hard enough, you may get something like that. You have to wonder about that. What's going on? Is he a mind form? Has he been created a tulpa? Kind of a thing. Have we created Santa? Is he now alive? Or has he been with us all along? Okay, is he out there, the real deal? Just because he doesn't come to see you or me does not mean he does not exist. Okay, so what I'm coming to now is my own sighting. Okay, and I've seen a lot of these sightings, but let me just dwell for a minute on a couple of these sightings. I know of one where a man and woman that were married, husband and wife, they put their kids to bed on Christmas Eve. And they were going by, they had a big picture window, and they were going by the window, and they actually saw Santa with a sleigh and the reindeer pass through the sky. And it was not an airplane, it was not a helicopter. He said, I know what those are. This was the real deal. I don't think Rudolph was in on this. Okay, Rudolph is the commercial part of it. Okay, but and I'm gonna talk about the reindeer names and games here in a minute. Okay, but anyway, they actually saw this out the window and said it was real. We didn't imagine. We both saw it. We looked at each other and said, "Did you see that?" You know. There is another sighting where an airplane pilot actually supposedly had him fly in front of him with a sleigh. And he said it was very fast. It wasn't just slowly going by. He said it was incredibly fast. He actually reported that, but of course, I think he did it anonymously because he wanted to keep his pilot license. You know, a lot of pilots are shut up because of that, because if the FAA doesn't like what they say, you know, do you report, they can shut you up real quick or get rid of you or take your pilot license or whatever the case. So a lot of pilots don't talk about things that they see, but they see some stuff, folks. Okay, may have to do a show on that one night, definitely. Haunted skies. Okay, and our skies are haunted, not just by Santa Claus. There's a lot of stuff going on up there, definitely. So we'll be doing a show on that definitely one night. Haunted skies. Okay, but anyway, yeah, he'll leave you alone because he'll leave me a bag of coal probably. But anyway, I don't know though. Joe Biden probably will, you know, come down on the coal industry there, so he may be a little short on it this year. All right, but anyway, getting back to some of these sightings, and there are a lot of them. I mean, I could tell you. I mean, I could go on all night with these. The people different areas you see him. Children, of course, have seen him. And then I come to my own sighting. Okay, and I'm going to tell you this. I cannot say 100% for sure that I did see Santa. Okay, but it was one of the strangest things that ever happened to me. All right. And it was something I had no thought about at all. I had nothing like that on my mind. Although it was Christmas Eve, I wasn't thinking about anything like that. Okay, but anyway, it was a very cold, dark, rainy kind of a Christmas Eve night. I was alone in the house, and well, I think my dog was with me. Zach was with me, of course. And I had been watching some Christmas movies or something on the TV and all that, but I had turned it off and everything. And it was probably at least close to midnight Christmas Eve. And behind my house at that time, I had a very large tree. That tree's no longer there, but the tree grew next to a building that I have there, an old carport, which has a tin roof on it. And it's probably about maybe 8 or 9 feet off the ground. The very top of this would be, but it is a convex. It's got a top to it, you know, that goes up. But it's not a very steep. It's kind of a sloping thing. You know, it's the way they used to build old garages and all that. So anyway, it has a tin roof on it. But in order to see the top of it, if you're standing down on the ground, you can't see very up on the top of it because it's kind of out of your eye line, you know, the line of your eye. So I could see it a little bit, but not a whole lot from my porch. I have a wraparound porch so you can see some of this. Well, I have a street light out there now, but there was no street light or anything out there at that time that lit up the backyard. Well, anyway, that night, I was just got through watching TV or whatever it was. I turned the TV off, and that was before I have outside cameras now, but I didn't have. I wish I'd have had some then, but I didn't have any then. This has been probably about 10 years ago this happened. But anyway, like I say, it was a dark, rainy Christmas night, and I heard a noise. No, I probably would not have heard it if I had the TV on, but I turned the TV off. I was just sitting there, or something, you know, and I heard this noise outside. I said, well, "What was that?" You know, and it sounded almost like, you know, you would hear like an automobile accident, and that's what kind of occurred to me. Did somebody hit another car in front of my house here, or what? You know, so I go outside. I took my flashlight. I went outside. And no, there's nothing on the street. Everything's very quiet, very still. The wind had been blowing a little bit before then, but it had calmed down some. And that's when I heard the noise again, a little bit more, but not as loud as before, from behind me, which was toward the carport I told you about, the garage. And that's when I walked around to the side porch, and I could see something a large shadow on top of the building. And I thought, well, what the heck is that? Because there's not supposed to be anything there. I mean, I thought when I first saw it, was that a tree limb that had, broken off the tree and fell over there on it or what? The shadow was rather long. And so I went down the side steps. And as I did, I heard it moving off of the top of that building. Like I say, it's a very rusty kind of a tin top to it. I heard it, scraping across there and just leaving off of that building. It made a noise, and I can't really describe what this noise sounded like. It sounded very much like, in one way, like leaves blowing in the wind, but there were no leaves on the tree. It was winter time. There were all the leaves that's falling off. There were no leaves on the ground. I'd already raked all the leaves up. There was nothing like that around there, but it sounded very much like that. And I thought later on it sounded like the hooves of something, like maybe goats or something like that would sound. Not like horses, but not quite that loud. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Roger. And I said, well, what the heck is that? So I walked around there and I could see the shadow, just caught a glimpse of it as it kind of went off of the roof and then just went up. I mean, it went up in the sky and was just gone. I said, well, what the heck is that? Was that a flock of birds or something? But no, it was not birds, because I could see them staying together. It was something that was rather long, and it had something longer in front of it. The only thing I could say was it was the silhouette of something that by no stretch of the imagination could have been a sleigh. I'm not sure, but here's the interesting end to this story. I don't know what it was, but it was on that roof. But it was not birds, because I've seen, and birds don't usually fly at night like that. Not a flock of them, no. That's unusual. So it was not birds. It was not, but it was too long. See, if it had been like in a one bunch, maybe it would have been a flock of birds. But this was long. So the next morning, I got the ladder and I went up. I climbed up and on the top of this building, on the metal roof, there were these two long marks, very much like the runners of the sleigh. And that's the end of my story. Did I see Santa? Was he taking a break there on top of my building? Or did he get lost? Was he checking his GSP or GPS or whatever? What was going on with that? Did I actually come very close to seeing the real deal? I always have to wonder about that. But every Christmas Eve, I keep a lookout for him just in case. So that's my near sighting of Santa. Take it for what it is. But I can tell you what it was not, but I can't tell you what it really was. Okay, I can tell you what it was not. It was not birds. It was not an animal. I don't know what it was in that respect. I really can't tell you. Was it Santa on his sleigh? But here's one other thing about that. Okay, I could swear, whether it was just me or my imagination, that I saw a flash of red in that shadow. Okay, whatever that was, I don't know. That's all I can tell you, and that's where I have to leave it. But it was a very interesting, very eerie kind of an encounter. Definitely. Next time, give me a call and says I'll come over to see it. I hope he shows up again. I definitely will call you. Because it was very interesting. I don't know. Really can't say it was him. I don't know what it was. But it will fit the bill to the real one to fall. Anyway, that's my story on that. But every year, there are thousands of sightings similar to that people call in, that people record. And they say, I know you're not going to believe me, but I think I saw Santa Claus. But like I say, I have to wonder, have we created him with our imaginations, or has he always been with us, or is he there? Some people say or speculate that Santa may be some type of an angel. Perhaps he is out looking not just to give gifts, but a sort of a guardian type angel over children, especially at certain times and all that. You have to wonder what the true nature of the real Santa Claus would be. Father Christmas, Papa Noel, whatever name you give him, he is connected definitely to children. All right, without a doubt. There's a big childhood connection, and I think with their imaginations as well. Maybe that's what drives him. Maybe it's the spirit of Christmas that gives him his power, because Christmas has a spirit of its own, and it is a good spirit, a giving kind of a spirit, although it does have some a dark side, eerie side to it if we're not careful. But the main good side of Christmas is it has its own spirit, and is a spirit of love and giving and hope and brightness. That's what Christmas is all about. And of course, as we commemorate it as the birth of our Savior, that's another interesting thing about it. Christmas existed long before Christ was born, okay, in paganistic terms. It has been with us a long time, but it now means something different for a lot of other people. For a lot of us, it means different things. Unfortunately, the commercial aspects of it all have really destroyed the true meaning of what it should be. That good magical time of the year and all that. And of course, that will lead into our next episode where we will definitely be talking about angels. All about angels. Who are they? What are they? Why are they here? What do they do? Angels, you will find this one of the most fascinating shows I think you have heard in a long time. So you definitely don't want to miss that. Well, next week at Wednesday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Be here for Angels. Okay, they're coming. All right, and okay, you'll come. Crystal says she'll come too if I see Santa. I will definitely call you, Crystal. Be on the ready now. Okay, definitely. But anyway, Santa is a magical part of that spirit of Christmas. Okay, he is the symbolism of it, and unfortunately, they have commercialized him to death. What do you think about the term, John Fortman says, the term magical being used to describe Christmas season, the most magical time of the year? I think it is the magic, my friend, of giving and love. Okay, love has its own sort of real magic to it. It can change people. It can change their lives. And what is love but God? God is love. Okay, and love is God. That's what it's all about. God is love, and He can change people. He can change people's hearts. Look at the story of Scrooge. A very good symbolism how mean and miserly he was. He hated humanity. He didn't trust anybody. He had it in for everybody. All he loved was his money. And look how he got changed. He's got completely 180-degree change on him. The magic, the spirit of Christmas actually did that. Okay. And that's what that stands for, the real magic of Christmas. Not the spooky kind of stuff. I'm talking about the real magic of Christmas, which is love and giving, open hearts, the season of lights. Okay. And it is when we commemorate the time when the greatest gift of all ever given to mankind was given to us. We commemorate that because that is the very nature of this season of giving gifts. We give gifts expecting nothing in return. You should not ever give a gift and say, I want something for that, for giving you that. That's not free hearted giving. That's not the way to give. God does not like that kind of stuff. Nobody would, okay? That's very self centered kind of giving. That does not have that love behind it that it really needs. You said magical time of year as I was talking. Okay. Anyway, hey, Mike Jones. That's what Christmas is really truly all about. Okay. Although we have the traditions inside of Christmas that give us a better feeling, and traditions are part of our culture. That's what we are. And there's a lot of stuff in the world today, and I'm not going to get deep into this. I will be declared a racist. Okay. But you do not destroy one person's culture to enhance your own. That's not right. You don't do that. You don't go around destroying other people's cultures just to be able to hype your own culture up. No, that's not right, and it should not be done under any circumstances to anyone in that respect. Culture is very important because it is our actual makeup of ourselves. It is us. It is our stories, our beliefs, and all that. And Christmas has a lot of traditions connected to it that harken back to our culture. You know, and just like people in Africa have a different culture, they have a different tradition for that thing. Kwanzaa, or different cultures have different names for it. You do not go around destroying other people's cultures because you just happen to think your own should be the one that goes on there. That's kind of like with your own opinion. You don't go around putting down everybody else's opinion because you want your own opinion to be the only one heard. That's not right. That's not good. Once upon a time in America, we, defended your right. Although we didn't agree with you maybe all the time, we defended your right to be able to say it because that was an American principle, But unfortunately, we've lost that over the years. Now, if somebody, disagrees with you, they're ready to tag you and destroy your life, tag you as a racist, and cancel you, or cancel your whole life and destroy your reputation. Yeah, that's not right either, folks. Okay, definitely no matter which way you look at it. And these things are anti-Christmas. Okay, and that's why I say this commercial aspect of Christmas is anti-Christmas. Just making money off of that. It's very crass to commercialize all of the stuff. Okay, and so you got to buy this. You got to buy this. Your child's not going to be happy unless you have this. Let me tell you this, and anybody out there listening tonight. And I'm not going to get deep into philosophy here tonight, okay? Well, let me just say this. There is no man or woman or thing on this earth, no matter what it is going to truly make you happy, okay? You got to remember that. Take that to heart and remember that very well. No one, no thing is going to make you happy. Only you are responsible for that. Okay? The way you want to live your life, the attitude you want to have, the belief system you want to have, you are responsible for that. Nobody else. I've often heard people say, oh, if I had that woman or that man, I'd be so happy. No, that's not what's going to make you happy. Or if I had $1 million, if I could win the lottery tomorrow and I'll be happy. No, that's not going to make you happy, okay? You got to learn this it's very important concept. Nothing on this planet was put here to make you happy. As it says in the Declaration of Independence, the pursuit of happiness. We can pursue happiness. We want to be happy, but nothing's going to make you happy, okay? Okay? Don't forget that. No person, no thing, and all that. Santa Claus can't bring it to you in a present, okay? And you're going to instantly be happy the rest of your life. No. It just don't work that way, okay? When we give gifts, we're not trying to make you happy, but we're giving of ourselves. Don't ever forget that, okay? When you give a gift, you give of yourself. You're giving a little bit of yourself. Just like when you talk to somebody or you spend a few minutes with somebody, you're giving them a gift of your time and your attention and your effort. If you don't love them enough, you're not going to give them that. You got to love somebody to want to really give them of yourself. Okay, that's what kind of real relationships are based on, folks. Okay, I don't want to get philosophical with you here tonight, but that's part of Christmas, the giving, the gift giving, not just to try to make you happy, but to give of ourselves to show you that we love you. That you love someone enough to give them something, that you took time to pick it out for them, even if it's not a gift. If you just take them to the grocery store or spend some time with them, that can be the greatest gift of all. It doesn't have to be something you go buy at Walmart, okay? You got to remember that. And that's what A Christmas Carol was all about, trying to teach you that it's not what you can buy that's going to make you happy, but it's what people can do for you and the kind of life that you live and all that. It is, Mike Jones says, the thought of those demonic charms and illusion. Well, you have to see through a lot of things in this world, Mike, and not let those bother you because they're there, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it, but you can keep it from affecting you. You have responsibility of yourself and your attitude. Nobody else. You can't do anything for anybody else. You can't make anybody do anything else. You know, I've had this a lot of times as a paranormal investigator. People say, "Have you got proof?" I could present you with the best proof in the world. Doesn't mean you're going to believe it. You're not going to believe me. Okay? Well, what am I banging my head on the wall for? I mean, trying to prove something to you. I can show you things, tell you about things, but you've got to make your own mind up to believe. Okay? That's just the way that goes. And people got to get that in their minds. That's the way it is with human nature. It's everyone's responsible for their own happiness. With a good point in society is turning so drastically towards external validation, definitely for their own, not father. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Remember at midnight, give you a true love, a partridge in a pear tree. If I could catch it, I don't know. But anyway, uh, so I think they added that up one time, and it would cost like $50,000 to buy all that stuff. I don't have that. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Those old I'd be happy if illusions, waste of life, chasing the dragon, chasing that the thing that you never can catch. I call it chasing smoke. You're never gonna catch it. You know, might smell it a little bit, but you're definitely not gonna catch it. But don't try to swallow it. Anyway, um, that's what Christmas is all about. And that's the symbolism of Santa Claus, okay? The giving of ourselves, the love of giving of ourselves in that respect. And that's what makes him sort of the first original in my book superhero, okay? He's the good guy. There's nothing that bad about Santa when you look at him, okay? Cuz he's making kids happy, giving them something, and of himself to them, passing it on, you might say. There's nothing wrong with that in that respect. But he has to be in his own place. Santa has a place and he needs to be there. And he is really a bastion of childhood. And that's where he belongs because he is definitely the saint of children. Okay, without a doubt. Um, yeah, probably a better chance to catch a smoking girl. Oh, definitely. Or, as they say, chasing the shadows. Huh? Anyway, that is the take on Santa tonight. Okay, and that's the original little talk we do on Santa. And like I say, you can go online and check on a lot of these Santa sightings. Fascinating reading. The people say they actually see this guy. Okay, this dude. And if you're listening, Santa, I'm waiting for you to show up. We've got to have a long talk. Okay, definitely. And I'm not gonna sit on your lap. Uh, all right. Well, thank you, Shiro. And like I say now, Friday night, paranormal point of view, 8 o'clock p.m. Be there or beware. Okay, we're gonna be doing some. I got some more Christmas movies. You're not gonna believe some of these Christmas movies I got for you to watch. There's some really way out stuff, and I got some more reviews on them. And who knows where else the strange train is gonna take us. Okay. And whether we're chasing shadows or tracking legends, whatever the case, we'll be out there doing it. And definitely, and I hope you all are successful in your Christmas shopping or Christmas preparations, whatever. Get the family together, have a good time, and just love. Okay, there you go. And until we get together again, and don't forget now, next Wednesday night, 9 o'clock p.m., all about angels. Okay, it's going to be a show you do not want to miss. Okay, all about angels. And how old were you when you told Santa was real sorry? She said, and I missed it. So, I actually supposedly figured it out myself there, John Fortman. By the way. Um, I had the part of me still wants to believe that he is real, and the spirit of Santa is real. He does exist in that respect. The spirit of Santa, which is good, I think, is loving and giving, and that's part of the Christmas spirit. Okay, definitely. So in that respect, he lives, and hopefully he will never die. Okay. All right. Next week, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock p.m. All about angels. A really good Christmas show. And Friday night at 8 o'clock, paranormal point of view. Okay. Until then, be good. Semper Veritas. Non timbo mala. And embrace the mystery. Hunting the shadows.